Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's great to see you all. Hello, hello. Familiar faces, unfamiliar faces. My name is Brad Dumont. I'm the director of music here at First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm thrilled to see you all here this evening as we start to host events here at First Parish again, although we've been doing it for a little while now. So tonight we're thrilled to have this fantastic concert. Before we begin though, I'd like to ask you to just take a minute and we would like to acknowledge the land that we currently hold this concert. This concert is being held tonight on the land of the Massachusetts, Nipmuc, and Wampanoag people, and we would like to pay honor, tribute, and recognition to the stolen land that we are using tonight, this land that we must find ways to pay reparations for and hold space for and recognize as not our land, but it's the land of many who came before us whose histories were erased. And so I'd like to recognize tonight this incredible concert of Pamela who's hiding behind me. Hi. I'll say a few words about her, and then I'm just gonna let her do her thing. It's gonna be amazing. So I think the thing that describes Pamela is the headline on her website, which says that within the music industry, she's been compared to both Tracy Chapman and Annie DeFranco, also been described as a cross between Suzanne Vega and Jimi Hendrix, and heir to the legacy of Nina Simone. So, we're thrilled to have you all here. I'm not gonna do any more introducing. I think there's some music we gotta make, so I'm gonna let Pamela take it over.
Hello, Stowe. My country, 'tis of thee. What's the matter with you? Handing out liberty for the privileged few. No justice for the rest of us. You've been crooked and cruel. Time to tear it all down and build something new. Time to tear it all down and build something true. We've been saying it for years, now the video shows it. Reason for rage and tears and fears, now everybody knows it. No more thoughts and prayers, rhetoric is through. Truth and reconciliation, reparations are due. My country, 'tis of thee. let me holler at you. A plenty opportunity for the privileged few. Roadblock for black, brown, poor. You've been callous and cruel. Time to tear it all down and build something new. Time to tear it all down and build something true. We've been saying it for years, now the video shows it. Reason for rage and tears and fears, now everybody knows it. No more thoughts and prayers, rhetoric is through. Truth and reconciliation, reparations are due. My country, 'tis of thee, let me holler at you. A plenty opportunity for the privileged few. Roadblock for black, brown, poor. You've been callous and cruel. Time to tear it all down and build something new. Time to tear it all down and build something true. Time to tear it all down and build something new. Time to tear it all down and build something true. Thank you very much. So we're also filming for Stowe TV. Thank you for being here. So, anybody see footage of Lizzo playing James Madison's crystal flute? Yeah. James Madison, the fourth president, owned a flute entirely made of crystal, and Lizzo was all up in it. I found that very satisfying. I've co-written a song with James Madison, though. It's one of the, it might be in the book of records for the longest distance co-write ever. He wrote the chorus when he wrote Federalist Paper number 51. And the words I read long ago, and they've bothered me ever since, and I've tried multiple times to put them to song. The words are, the purpose of government is to protect the minority of the opulent from the majority. And so I'm going to recently, we've got a Q&A at the end of this, so recently at one of these shows, someone asked me if I knew what he meant, trying to trip me up. And I know exactly what he meant. He was talking about when they were forming the government and deciding that only propertied white men should be allowed to vote, lest dumb people throw away their future with voting. So don't ask me that question because I have the answer. Thank you. So here it is. This is called James Madison. How do we feel about profanity? What about Stowe TV? Do we have any FCC concerns? Can you go whoop? I have very well-intentioned, well-placed, choice words, but I always have. But for the first time, the last album that I released the regular explicit version and a clean version for all the gentle souls, so that when I would usually say it goes whoop. So it actually goes wicka wicka wicka. Founding fathers, free spirit men, some grew hemp on the plantations. All had slaves, they didn't free them. All had slaves, and some raped them. Jimmy James Madison didn't give two shits about anyone. Polk's manifest destiny didn't work out for the Cherokee. Jimmy James, he said, the purpose of the government is to protect the minority of the opulent from the majority. Two-party systems seem like one gold at the top and the rest are rickety-rackety rungs. We got the money, we got the guns, we got greed and idiocy, and embarrassment to everyone with any sense of decency. Purpose of the government is to protect the minority of the opulent from the majority. The purpose of the government is to protect the minority of the opulent from the majority. Brian perverts police populations, prisons populate, prophets, predictions of politicians salivate. Ellsberg, Manning, Snowden, Davis, heroes and dissidents. We all could use a daily dose of civil disobedience. We all could use a daily dose of civil disobedience. We all could use a daily dose of civil disobedience. The purpose of the government is to protect the minority of the opulent from the majority. The purpose of the government is to protect the minority of the opulent from the majority. Thank you very much. I like this flooring, like do my James Brown, but not quite. So I write political songs like that. They have not always been popular. Got a collection of saved postcards from being told, no, you're too much for our New England venue. But I don't know, since 2020, I don't know, like the phone's been ringing a little more. I don't know. So I welcome that. So like all of my musician friends, there were a lot of tumbleweeds blowing through our calendars the last couple of years. And I had 5 gigs last year, all of them outside. And one of them, the organizer said I'm on a local cultural council, and we get money from the state to bring arts and culture to town. And you should look into this because Jeremy the juggler is getting all the gigs and none of my musician friends are applying. And it's true, that juggler is very busy. And I was advised if I could make my idea somewhat educational, it could increase my chances of getting some grants. So I thought of Pamela Presents the Power of the Protest Song because it's fun to say. And it was a way where I could still be myself and have incentive to learn more songs that inspired me to walk this path. So all these local cultural councils are under the umbrella of the Mass Cultural Council, which disperses millions of dollars. And any town in Mass can have a council. At the moment, there are 329. And I would have cut and pasted my application 329 times, except that you had to find a venue and have conversations with humans and find venues in each town that would commit to hosting the show if funding came through. So thank you, Joanna and Brad and First Parish Church for agreeing to host me here tonight. And thank you to the Stowe Cultural Council for, anybody here from the Stowe Council? All right, they don't care. So I applied to 25 towns, and then in the fine print of Worcester, you had to be a resident or work there. And I don't. I'm from Wisconsin, so I couldn't pretend. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll just withdraw my application. That's fine. And so I sent in 24 applications, and I got 22 gigs. Yes. And that includes at least 3 where the venue said we want to have the show irregardless of any grant funding. So I'm grateful for that too. So I have more gigs this fall than I've had the last 2 years combined. I've got gigs, 1 or 2 gigs a week all this fall. Got to drive to them, like checking my coolant level and all that stuff again. Grateful, very grateful. So, here's a song I get to reclaim, Tracy Chapman, because I was called, not only was I compared to Tracy Chapman frequently early on, but in print in the Milwaukee Journal, that's my hometown, Milwaukee. Hey, Milwaukee! Yeah, that's about right. Checks out. In the Milwaukee Journal, I was called Milwaukee's White Tracy Chapman. And hey, how creative. And then once I moved over here, I was called a Black Ani DeFranco, so it's kind of all balanced out. So. Don't you know they're talking about a revolution? Sounds like a whisper. Don't you know they're talking about a revolution? Sounds like a whisper. Well, they're standing in the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know they're talking about a revolution? Sounds like a whisper. Poor people gonna rise up and get their share. Poor people gonna rise up and take what's theirs. Did you know you better run, 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 run? I said you better run. talking about a revolution. Sounds like a whisper. Don't you know they're talking about a revolution? Sounds like a whisper. Don't you know they're talking about a revolution? Sounds like a whisper. Don't you know they're talking about a revolution? Sounds like a whisper. So I have a big rotating list of protest songs written over the last century or so. And it would be fun to present them in chronological order at some point. But I'm just trying to create a flow for the concert. This is a tune by Sting that he relearned himself recently due to the news. And this is from his Dream of the Blue Turtles album from 1987. I'm only changing one word. Can you hear everything okay, by the way? Good? How about now? You can hear me okay? Mm. Europe and America, there's a growing feeling of hysteria, conditioned to respond to all the threats of the rhetorical speeches of the Soviets. Putin says he will bury you. I don't subscribe to this point of view. It would be such an ignorant thing to do if the Russians love their children too. How can I save my little boy from Oppenheimer's deadly toy? There is no monopoly of common sense on either side of the political fence. We share the same biology, regardless of ideology. What might save us, me and you, is if the Russians love their children too. No historical precedent right from the mouth of the president. There's no such thing as a winnable war. It's a lie we don't believe anymore. The president says he will protect you. I don't subscribe to this point of view. It would be such an ignorant thing to do if the Russians love their children too. Share the same biology, regardless of ideology. What might save us, me and you, is if the Russians love their children too. Thank you very much. my set list on there. So we're in the R section of cover tunes. Any Bruce Cockburn fans? Yeah, Bruce Cockburn. All right, me and you. It's spelled like Cockburn, so you may have seen it. Bruce Cockburn is a Canadian songwriter with maybe 30 or more albums. Tremendous songwriting, wonderful, wonderful. Many political songs, not all of them. And his first dozen albums or so are all acoustic, voice and guitar, which is my favorite. It's the band. They're affordable. Here comes the helicopter. Second time today. Everybody scatters and hopes it goes away. How many kids they've murdered, only God can say. If I had a rocket launcher, if I had a rocket launcher, if I had a rocket launcher, I'd make somebody pay. I don't believe in guarded borders, and I don't believe in hate. I don't believe in generals or the stinking tortured states. When I talk to the survivors, things too sickening to relate. If I had a rocket launcher, if I had a rocket launcher, if I had a rocket launcher, I would retaliate. every voice. At least I've got to try. Every time I think about it, water rises to my eyes. Situation desperate, echoes of victims cry. I had a rocket launcher. I had a rocket launcher. I had a rocket launcher. Some son of a bitch would die. Intermish. So for a while now, I've been a biracial person. Just checking it out. It was trendy for a minute, but. And I drive a lot with gigs in between, and I'm always, driving while black is a very real thing, so I'm always chillin' in the right lane. Speed limit, chillin'. So if you're getting road rage and you're impatient with someone who's already in the right lane, chillin', just remember my smiley face, because it just could be someone that don't want no problems. And I want to say that this is my first time in Stowe, and there are way more many deal signs for governor that I would like to see. So I don't like any of that. And also, I challenge anyone who has one of those "We support police officer" signs in the yards to also have a Black Lives Matter sign. They're never together. So I know what you're saying. Code with your "We support police officers," which means we do not support Black Lives Matter. But to drive through that and see this big Black Lives Matter banner on this building, I feel good. Thank you. So just know that it matters. It matters. So seeing those little signs in yards as I drive all over the place, it really matters. So this is a tune from some album ago. And I write songs, doesn't matter what year. Same as all these protest songs. It doesn't matter what year. They're still just as relevant, if not more, and that's pathetic and sad. And so that's why I'm still singing them. But at the time, I'd read about this mandate called Operation Pipeline. And it was a mandate for all state troopers along the entire I-95 corridor from Maine to Florida to pull over non-white drivers because they were more likely to be carrying contraband, which of course has been proven over and over again to be false. But it happened. A lot of people were unnecessarily pulled over, a lot of violence, a lot of harassment, some deaths. And at one point, some cops were taken to court, and they said, "We are just following the rules, bruh," and they were acquitted. And so I had a tiny aneurysm, and then I wrote this song, and so I'm going to rock out a little bit, so... wondering where these love scratches came to be, I'm about to demonstrate. This is called Two Halves. Jersey troopers take a walk, high-paid lawyers bargain talk of the poison in the system, how they drank it down and became victims. Today they overturn convictions of the women's civil rights violations by a gang of NYPD's finest, who are really just thugs with a penchant for violence. Said him walking now, old Jim Crow, coming from all of them parties, WEF, WTO. He's a sharp-dressed fella with a tight grip on the globe, has all the connections to keep the high, keep the low down low. To keep the high, keep the low down low. So when I'm out there on the road, those traffic laws I do uphold. I don't need to be pulled over by a big dick cop with a billy club boner behind a badge and a loaded weapon. Over time I've learned this lesson. Although there are two halves of me, there's only one half they will see. Although there are two halves of me. To a racist cop out on the beat, another black bitch is all I be. To a racist cop out on the beat, another black bitch is all I be. But I be intermission. I've got CDs and T-shirts. CDs are $10, T-shirts are $20. I don't care anymore. That's all underpriced. And I have, for the first time, a second T-shirt design. I've never had two T-shirt designs at the same time. The green is a super soft cotton. It's a ladies fit, and they run small, but there's pretty top shelf stuff, all locally printed in East Hampton, where I live. That's my self-portrait. I drew it as a joke one day long ago, and then I thought, hey, wait a minute. Sometimes I say that my songs begin in fetal position, because they do. I'm very grateful to have had music and a guitar to help me process and navigate the world and still be alive in it. So I wrote this on the day of the Uvalde shooting. Way too many songs written after a shooting. It's a reservoir to put some of the feelings that comes up. So this is when you're little and you're like, I'm gonna grow up and I'm gonna change the world. I'm gonna fix it. I don't know why you old people haven't done it yet. And then you get there and you're like, it's like a whole system. It's like a whole algorithm and system within a structure, like an architecture and a history and a timeline and layers of division. So I think we all have to say what we can say to who we can say it to whom. And, this is called Sing for Love. It's becomes a sing-along at the end, so it's kind of a do-it-yourself sing-along, because I'm from Wisconsin. Leading a sing-along is a heavy lift for a Midwesterner. Here's my impression of a Midwesterner leading a sing-along. I'll be doing that on the inside. And I heard there are snacks and beverages downstairs. Another white boy with his hands on the trigger, along with legislators who let the loopholes linger. Law of the land loves white supremacy, so none of us are safe, no one is free. I don't think I'll live long enough to see this angry country discover unity, but as long as I got breath in my lungs, I will fight for justice, I will sing for love. Martin Luther King worked to make the world a better place. He said, only love can drive out the hate. Only light can drive out the dark. So hatred shot him down in a Memphis parking lot. I don't think I'll live long enough to see this angry country discover unity, but as long as I got breath in my lungs, I will fight for justice, I will sing for love, I will fight for justice, I will sing for love, I will fight for justice, I will sing for love. Nothing more important than stopping fascism, 'cause fascism will stop us all. The immortal words of Fred Hampton. Black Panther Party sounding the call. Power to the people, free breakfast for the children. At 21, a freedom fighter, so Chicago police killed him. I don't think I'll live long enough to see this angry country discover unity. But as long as I got breath in my lungs, I will fight for justice, I will sing for love. Fight for justice, I will sing for love. I will fight for justice, I will sing for love. 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 Fight for justice, I will sing. Two more. Fight for justice, I will sing for love. Fight for justice, I will sing for love. All right, a little break. Thanks for being here. We got merch over here, grubs downstairs. Thank you. Thank you all so much. You get some snacks? You get some snacks? Snacks. Thank you all for being here and staying. Right, so anybody remember that song Afternoon Delight in the 70s? I'm going to play that for you now. There's a guy named John Carroll, and he was 18 years old, and he was a member of that band, and that band won 2 Grammys at the time. They won Best New Artist, and he himself at age 18 won a Grammy for vocal arrangements for Afternoon Delight. Pretty impressive. He lives in East Hampton, where I live, and we've become pals. And he has 2 more Grammys than I do so far. And he also has his own studio in town. And he invited me to hang out. And so I went to hang out in Grammy winner, 2-time Grammy winner, John Carroll's studio. And I made myself say out loud, why don't we write a song together? And because I know that he co-writes with other artists. And he also spent 25 years as the keyboardist for Mary Chapin Carpenter on the road. And he retired from that during the pandemic to just focus more on his own other projects. And so he's a little older than I am, and we talked about our lives. He grew up in Virginia. He has childhood memories of adults in blackface at church social functions, and his parents explaining to him why that was messed up and wrong. And I grew up in Milwaukee as a queer biracial person, and we talked about the Confederate statues and what if we could replace them with actual civil rights heroes and freedom riders. And then I went home and I started it, and I wrote a song, 4 chords over and over the way I like it. And tag team, he expanded, he added some lyrics, and grew the song into a 2-page arrangement that I have to learn. And he has his own studio, so he was in there every day, tinkering, and he can play multiple instruments. So he's about to release it on the wide world web all over the place on Tuesday, November 1st, ahead of the midterms. I'm very proud of it. I'm still learning it. I've recorded my own version, and I just need to sing it like another 700-800 times before I get in. I realized the problem is that at the end of the song, he put in some ad-lib. He's used to being a pop star, and he's like ad-libbing at the end. I'm from Wisconsin. We don't ad-lib. This is a whole lot of repression to leap over. But I do own half of this intellectual property, thank you. It's called Today, Not Tomorrow. I'm not even on his recording. Like, you can kind of hear me in the singing background a little bit, but it's all him. It's great. Freedom riders rode their wheels while driving down to Dixie. Life in limbo toward injustice, they're the last tools left to fix it. So sit yourself down right in their seats and greet this beat we're in. Now we can begin. I wanna be the monument to the bravery, not an inveterate abetted to thievery. The reason why Confederates favor slavery, the greed and need must be fulfilled. We ought to bring them all down from the pedestal. We got our own humble heroes who've risked it all. That's how we shall begin, 'cause it's a new play today. I go high, I go low, I go high. Too many people to blame today. I go high, I go low, I go high. We will never be shamed away. Well, can't you hear the echoing of their footsteps from Portland through Wisconsin, Minneapolis, San Diego, San Antonio, Annapolis? We gotta greet this beat we're in. The men in wigs really didn't have a plan for this, but that was then, and I know now they wouldn't stand for this. We gotta dedicate the faith obsessively and keep turning up the heat progressively. That's how we shall begin, 'cause it's a new play today. I go high, I go low, I go high. Too many people to blame today. I go high, I go low, I go high. We will never be shamed away. Now we can begin. Now we must begin. We gotta bend the arc a little more toward our way. If we ever wanna wait to see a brighter ray of hope tomorrow, not so far off when true justice must be us and them. We gotta bend the arc a lot more toward our way. If we ever wanna wait to see a brighter ray of hope tomorrow, no, not so far off when true justice must be trust, my friend. Not tomorrow, not tomorrow, not tomorrow. Today, 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 today. We got to follow in the footsteps now. Today, 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 today. To follow in the footsteps. Freedom riders rode their wheels while driving down to Dixie. Life in limbo toward injustice, they're the last tools left to fix it. So sit yourself down right in their seats and greet this beat we're in. Now we can begin. Thank you very much. father grew up in Jim Crow, Tennessee, a sharecropper son far from luxury. Moved up north in 1952, and a damn thing changed from his point of view. His point of view. Now I've been pulled over on a Shorewood shoulder, asked where you going, where you been. Ain't none of your business. Don't I look like an American? You're gonna think what you want now, don't you? I didn't know the side of the road was a courtroom. Everything dark comes out in the light. We keep marching on, but our souls are tired. 'Cause here we are again, a black man gone 'cause of the color of his skin. The color of his skin. I was grown and groomed in the Great Lakes Midwest, where politeness covers up years of repressed tight lips, tight asses, too slow to grow, hyper-segregated masses, and I had to go. I had to go. I seen the Rodney King riots in 1992, a black president. I seen that too, but ain't a damn thing changed from my point of view. Ain't a damn thing changed from my point of view. My point of view. Everything dark comes out in the light. We keep marching on, but our souls are tired. 'Cause here we are again, a black child gone 'cause of the color of her skin. Everything dark comes out in the light. We keep marching on, but our souls are tired. 'Cause here we are again, a black child gone 'cause of the color of the skin. The color of the skin. The color of our skin. The color of the skin. Alright, keep on do a Phil Oakes. Any Phil Oakes? It's got a lot of words. Phil Oakes got a lot of words. I feel like his most famous song is "I Ain't Marching Anymore," and that one feels too obvious, so that's not on my list. But he has a lot of other wonderful outspoken pieces. This one's still relevant. Here's to the state of Mississippi, where they've had clean water issues, among other issues, where the governor, Tate Reeves, said, "It's a good day not to be in Jackson." I might forget some words, so we're all in this together. Here's to the state of Mississippi. For underneath her borders, the devil draws no lines. If you drag her muddy rivers, nameless bodies you will find. The fat trees of the forest have hid 1,000 crimes. The calendar is lying when it reads the present time. Oh, here's to the land You've torn out the heart of Mississippi. Find yourself another country to be part of. Here's to the people of Mississippi. You say the folks up north, well, they just don't understand. And they tremble in the shadows at the thunder of the clan. The sweating of their souls can't wash the blood from off their hands. They smile and shrug their shoulders at the murder of a man. Oh, here's to the land you've torn out the heart of. Mississippi, find yourself another country to be part of. And here's to the schools of Mississippi. They're teaching all the children that they don't have to care, and all the rudiments of hatred are present everywhere, and every single classroom is a factory of despair, and nobody is learning such a foreign word as fair. Oh, here's to the land you've torn out the heart of. Mississippi, find yourself another country to be part of. Governor Reeves, find yourself another country to be part of. Clarence Thomas, find yourself another country to be part of. Brett Kavanaugh, find yourself another country to be part of. Neil Gorsuch, find yourself another country to be part of. Samuel Alito, find yourself another country to be part of. Amy Coney Barrett, what the fuck is seriously wrong with you? Puzzle. A puzzle wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in an enigma. All right, so one of the most well-known protest songs of all time is Strange Fruit. And it was written in 1939. It's 83 years old and still just as relevant. I know the most about this particular song because I resisted singing it for as long as possible. And I did a lot of research, and that led me to join the lineage of artists. So probably many people know Billie Holiday's version, and I think that she's recorded the signature definitive version of the song. If you can imagine, she started singing it when she was 23, and she was asked, why do you sing that song? Why do you still sing it? And she said it reminded her of her father, who was a touring musician who died at age 39 because he had lung issues and he was on the road, and hospital after hospital after hospital refused to help him, and he died. And there's a connection to Massachusetts with the song. It was begun as a poem. It was written by a Jewish school teacher named Abel Meeropol, and he wrote the poem under the pen name Lewis Allen, which are the first two names of the only two children he and his wife Anne had, and they both died in childhood. Abel and Anne were also friends with Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, and when they were executed in 1953, Abel and Anne adopted the two orphaned sons. And they grew up to form Rosenberg Fund for Children, which is an organization that fights for political act. I cry every time I sing this song. or talk about it just because it's not easy to talk about. And I don't want anyone to run and get me a tissue or feel bad for me. These are just feelings, and feel your own feelings with this song. And I've been in therapy a good long time, and I prefer not to cry in public, but it happens enough that I'm okay with it. And it's better than holding those feelings in. But so this is me 83 years after this song is written. Billie Holiday sang it right out of the gate, and it could have contributed to her early death at age 44. And because it's a devastating piece. And in the 30s and 40s and 50s, musicians in New York had to have a cabaret license to perform wherever alcohol was served. Many musicians, including Billie Holiday, lost their cabaret licenses because they refused to stop singing Strange Fruit. Billie Holiday was told personally by Harry Anslinger of the FBI to stop singing Strange Fruit. You imagine the FBI coming to your face and be like, you gotta stop singing that song. She refused, so they harassed her further, including handcuffing her to a hospital bed. And she used to perform the song. She would have the wait staff stop all service so it would be completely silent, and she'd have one spotlight on her face, and she'd sing Strange Fruit and walk off the stage and never return. And I thought that was to be, to have an audience sit with the feelings that the song brings up. And I think that's part of it. But I think after singing the song so many times myself, 83 years later, it's devastating. She probably couldn't return to the stage. So the connection to Massachusetts is that the Rosenberg Fund for Children is headquartered in East Hampton, where I live, and I was a board member for a couple of years. Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Blackbuddy swinging, the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolias, clean and fresh, the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here is a fruit for the crows to pluck, the rain to gather, the wind to suck, sun to ride, tree to dry. There is a strange and bitter crop. Well, let's do a couple more and then we'll have some questions and answers. So, along the lines of saying what you can say to whom you can say it, this is a tune by Jason Isbell. Yay, Joanna! Jason Isbell is a white guy from the South, so I ignored him. And then I listened more closely, and he's quite a songwriter and on the correct side of politics. And I appreciate that he's written this next song and that he's going around singing it to his crowds. I'm a white man living in a white man's town. White man living in a white man's world. Under our roof is a baby girl. Thought this world would be hers one day, but her mama knew better. I'm a white man living in a white man's town. Wanna take a shot of cocaine and burn it down. Mama wants to change that Nashville sound, but they're never gonna let her. There's no such thing as someone else's war. Your creature comforts aren't the only thing worth fighting for. I'm still breathing, it's not too late. We're all carrying one big bird and sharing one fate. I'm a white man living on a white man's street. Got the bones of the red man under my feet. The highway runs through the burial ground, past the oceans of cotton. I'm a white man looking in a black man's eyes. Wish I'd never been one of the guys who pretended not to hear another white man's joke. Old times ain't forgotten. There's no such thing as someone else's war. Your creature comforts aren't the only thing worth fighting for. I'm still breathing, it's not too late. We're all carrying one big bird and sharing one fate. I'm a white man living in a white man's nation. Think the man upstairs must have took a vacation. I still have faith, but I don't know why. Maybe it's the fire in my little girl's eyes. Maybe it's the fire in my little girl's eyes. We'll do another one and we'll have a little discussion or something. Thank you all very much for spending some of your Saturday here. Saturday? Hands up, don't shoot. I'm tough, not bulletproof. Gonna love out loud, not afraid. Gonna march down Main in the Pride Parade. No closets, no shame. Yes, love, no hate. Hands up, don't shoot. I'm tough, not bulletproof. It's not the guns, it's the trigger. It's the bullet in the chamber sent to kill a stranger by a hateful, deranged figure. It's not the guns, it's the trigger. It's the bullet in the chamber sent to kill an anger by a hateful, deranged figure. Hands up, don't shoot. We're tough, not bulletproof. many souls did you kill today? Oh, hey, NRA, how many deaths you facilitate? Oh, hey, NRA, how many kids did you kill today? Oh, hey, NRA, how many hearts did you break today? Hands up, don't shoot. We're tough, not bulletproof. Thank you very much, Stowe. It's getting a little uncomfortable there. Wisconsin. All right, so what do you got? You got questions? Do you have questions? Anybody? Any questions? Yeah? Any questions? Question? No? You good? We're good? All right, let's go. Yes? Who? Hi.
Serious question. Do you play to any young audiences?
Do I play to any young audiences? You're gonna have to deal with all these people at the end of the night. I play wherever I can get the work. Yeah. How young do you mean?
College, 20s, 30s.
Yeah, I try to play as many colleges as possible, and in fact, I have ideas to expand this into more of a talkie-talkie presentation with a PowerPoint slideshow, and less concert, more talkie, so and hybrid. So, and I am pitching that to colleges, maybe high schools. I'm a little afraid to be teased. But I also teach, and I've had students as young as 3, so I teach all ages. I've had many students, I've had quite a few 3 and 4-year-old students. Pretty impressive. One was this little boy named Roman, and he played classical guitar, and he's just perfect little fingers right here. Like, ah! All right. Any other questions? Yeah. Next. Yeah, I have always made up songs and poems, and I used to be really, really shy, and so my decision wasn't whether or not to pursue music. I knew I wanted to, but it was whether or not I could get over my chronic shyness and do so. And I did that by having private voice lessons for a whole year before I ever performed at an open mic. And I had a wonderful teacher named Helen in Milwaukee, and she would say things like, if you sang something wrong, it's because you didn't tell your voice what to do. And to imagine the sound coming from the floor up through your body and shooting out the top of your head. And that everyone can sing, but that everyone's voice is like a wild animal, and you have to learn to tame it. And so all of those sort of creative abstract views of singing, versus diaphragm, rah, 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 although I did a lot of that, it helped me, get over it. So, yeah.
One silly question. What is the yellow balloon flopping around?
I think Brad set that up. That's the Spirit of the Lord right there. It is. It's just floating over an air blower thing. Yeah. It's not. It's no. Yeah. No, it is. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But I would want one on each side, though, to have balance. Yeah.
So, I always felt like there ought to be a protest anthem for the current Northern Delaware. And I don't know, put your finger on something that could sort of be like the protest anthem for the state of our country right now. You've got a bunch of them.
I wrote a song called Impeachment Now, and I thought that was very pointed. And but it also talked about both sides. You know, I think this country has, you know, one political party, two brands. You know, I think that the Republicans are blatantly cruel, and I think the Democrats often enable the cruelty. So there's a verse in that song where I say, I'm not gonna remember it, but red and blue, and some other brilliant prose after that. But sometimes I have to, like a pot of chili, it has to simmer for a while. So my rage and despair are often simmering inside, and they come out in little song spurts. But like I wrote Impeachment Now a full year after that person took occupation of the office. So I probably will write something more. You know, I'm actually particularly really pissed off about the student loan debt relief. Like, what the fuck? Like, you shouldn't have even said anything, you know? Like, for instance, if you don't know, Biden promised up to $10,000 or maybe $20,000 student debt relief. And in the last 3 months, the administration has been sued by the state of Oklahoma because they might not have as much revenue from income taxes if you relieve the student debt. And so they're suing the administration. And so because of that, and the administration has caved, and because of that particular lawsuit, a certain type of student loan, there's all these different acronyms, but a certain type suddenly became ineligible. And of course, that's the kind of student loan that I had. So my student loans become ineligible. And what bothers me is that in the spring, you know, like since the lockdown, student loan repayment went on pause with 0 interest, which was polite. And I was inspired to pay off my student loans. I have $6,000 left of student loans. And I was inspired to pay it off. I just wanted to like have a 0 balance and have that good feeling. And my friends, many friends are like, no, don't pay it. Biden's gonna forgive it. You shouldn't pay it. You should keep that money. It's $6,000. I was like, oh, but I just want to pay it though. And they're like, no, you shouldn't. He's gonna time it right before the election. He's gonna student debt relief. I'm like, okay. So I let it roll. And then when I found out that my particular loans were ineligible because of this caving, like I cried. Like I was so ready to pay it and have that feeling of pride, but then to have like hope for a few months and have that dashed, it just seems like the phrase that comes to mind often in this country is the cruelty is the point. And since that caving of that particular student loan, all student loan debt relief is now on pause. Nobody's getting debt relief because they're being sued by other entities. And so nobody's getting debt relief until it's resolved in the courts, if ever. So why did you even say it? You know, so I'm going to write a song about that, I think. But I think that's an example. There's a lot of carrot, and then just stick, you know, in the end. And I think that's also like the history of this country has had a lot of intentional division placed upon us. And someone has this and someone else doesn't have that, and to just keep us distracted and fighting with each other. And so I'm getting off track, but there's still plenty to write about. And I have long been a news junkie, but after the election of 2020, it was too painful to stay because we suddenly were like all like trauma survivors and just on high alert ever since then. Perhaps before then, perhaps our whole lives. But any other questions? Yes. Yeah. It's a place for me to process my feelings, my rage, and to, rage can be a useful tool if you sharpen it in just the right way. I'm disappointed to see not a lot of continuous protest in this country. And for a while, after George Floyd, people were in the streets. I was inspired by that. I held off for a while because I thought it was going to peter out within a month or two. It lasted a little longer than that. But I also think things change. It's so frustrating. It changes one person at a time. I do wish that it could happen more quickly. And that said, I think a song has the power to change a heart and change a mind in a matter of minutes, or at least to plant a seed or spark a conversation that could lead to true change. And so that's why I do it also. And Nina Simone said it's the artist's duty to reflect the times. And I take that very seriously. And also I became a political songwriter by default. I just wanted to write bubblegum pop songs. But I'm biracial, I'm queer, I grew up in Milwaukee. That doesn't all go together. And I was exposed to the work of Audre Lorde, Bell Hooks, and James Baldwin. Many others, but they were the first in particular. And they wrote so... They wrote with such straightforwardness, and they articulated the pain and rage that I had already felt every day of my life. And it helped me to understand what I was experiencing, had experienced, and that it wasn't about me, it was far beyond me. And I began to understand the institutions of all the isms at play. And I was inspired by the honesty and bravery of those artists, and I thought I needed to. All a writer can do is write about what they know, and what I know is living in this country in the 20th and 21st century as a queer biracial woman, and I see everything through that lens, and I write the truth of what I see and what I experience. It happens to be on the periphery of mainstream accepted society, and therefore by default political. But I wouldn't be able to sleep at night or look in the mirror if I didn't write honestly about my own experience. And hopefully it will, touch someone else. But I think I write first for myself so I don't kill myself or another person. And I think even though we all have different skins and different experiences, we all experience the spectrum of human emotion. And if an artist can get at that in a genuine way, then there's potential for it to touch another person, irregardless of our differences. So that's also why I do it. Well, I like to end things with What a Wonderful World, just to leave you all with a kinder feeling. And so how about I do that, and then we just follow them out. How about that? I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed day, dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, and also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, yeah. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Brad and Joanna on FPC.